Hi everyone, welcome to today's class in which we would be studying biotechnology, principles and processes. So what do stonewashed genes and home pregnancy tests have in common with bread, cheese and wine? They are all examples of manipulating living organisms to create products or new processes. So these are all products of biotechnology. Humans have been using biotechnology since the dawn of civilization. The most primitive type of biotechnology is the cultivation of plants and training of animals. The domestication of animals stretches back over to 10,000 years ago, and that was also the time when humans started agriculture. And with this agriculture and domestication of animals for getting products from them helped humans to live at one location, and from hunters and gatherers they became the settlers. Then they discovered the fermentation process. So various alcoholic drinks such as beer and wine were developed because of fermentation. What we think of as modern biotechnology, this began around the end of the 19th century. By then, Mendel's work on genetics was completed and institutes for investigating fermentation along with other microbial processes had been founded by Koch, Pasteur and Lister. At the beginning of the 20th century, industry and agriculture started to incorporate biotechnology. The growing automobile industry, for example, used fermentation processes to produce acetone and paint solvents. By mid-century, major advances in genetics dominated biotechnological research. The discovery of DNA, that it carries the genetic code and the structure of the double helix, were described by Watson and Crick. Soon new techniques were developed to allow the manipulation of DNA. Genetically engineered plants, microbes, animals and products like insulin highlight the future of biotechnology. So with this backdrop, now we can define what biotechnology is. And the definition that we are taking up that has been coined by European Federation of Biotechnology. So this definition, it encompasses both traditional view and the modern molecular biotechnology. And this definition is the integration of natural science and organisms, cells, parts thereof, and molecular analogues for products and services. So where we use microorganisms like to prepare curd or maybe processing cheese, that all was part of classical biotechnology. But the modern biotechnology is where we are not only using the microbes, but we are also manipulating their DNA for getting products of our desired type. Now, coming to these principles. So among the many principles, the two core techniques are there for biotechnology. And these core techniques, one is genetic engineering. So genetic engineering, what does this word connote? In simplest word, I can say that it is when you doctor a gene. So the gene we know is a segment of DNA which has the information to code for a polypeptide or a protein. And if that gene is taken from one organism and it is transferred into another species, that would be the work of a genetic engineer. So genetic engineering is technique to alter the chemistry of the genetic material, that is DNA, and in some of the viruses it is RNA, to introduce these into the host organism and thus change the phenotype of the host organism. That is, like for example, we can transfer a human gene into the bacteria, or even if it is allowed, vice versa. The other technique is bioprocess engineering. Now, bioprocess engineering is maintenance of a sterile ambience. Now, sterile ambience would be microbial contamination free ambience in chemical engineering processes to enable the growth of only the desired microbe or the eukaryotic cell. Now, in the lab, in the culture medium, when we are growing these cells, those cells should be able to grow while any undesired cell, or maybe because we know that the environment is full of those fungal spores, bacteria are there, they can contaminate that culture and even they can start growing over there. So we don't want that. So those are not allowed to grow, and that has been made possible by using certain antibiotics in the medium as well, which will come in quite a detail in the later part of the chapter. So in this way, we are producing biotechnological products like antibiotics, vaccines, enzymes, etc. So this entire process of genetic engineering, it involves creation of recombinant DNA. Now, recombinant DNA is not to be confused with genetic recombination that you study in evolution or in meiosis, where there was exchange of the genetic material between two homologous chromosomes, between the sister chromatids of these homologous chromosomes. It's not that. Now, recombinant DNA has been created in the lab by combining the DNA of two different species. Then, whatever gene of interest we have found out, that gene of interest can be allowed to make several copies of it. That would be called gene cloning. And transferring that gene, that is, we take out a gene from one species and transfer it into another species, that would be gene transfer. This again should not be confused with gene migration. Now, gene migration was simply the migration of individuals from one population to another, and because of mating, their genes are then represented in the new population. So this is gene transfer. Here in biotechnology is having a different connotation than the gene migration. And as we have used the word cloning, now cloning is making multiple identical copies of the template DNA. Like whichever DNA that we have isolated, which is having the gene which we desire to make several products for that. So we'll copy that gene several times, and as many copies will be there, accordingly we can have the copies of the product as well. Now, this entire process of genetic engineering we can see here with the help of a diagram. Like here you see there is a human cell. Now, from this human cell we can extract the gene which we want to make copies of. Let us say this is the gene of growth hormone. Now, growth hormone is a proteinaceous hormone, and for that the gene has been isolated. Now, the other cell that you see is the bacterial cell, and from this bacteria there is an extra chromosomal DNA, that is plasmid, and that is a circular DNA. So that plasmid is also extracted. Now, both of these DNA, that is the human DNA and the plasmid DNA, these are cut by using certain enzyme, that is restriction endonuclease. Now, this is an enzyme which cuts the DNA by cleaving their phosphodiester bond at a specific location. Why we are cutting it with the same restriction endonuclease, that we will be discussing, but for the time being, let us just see the whole process, so that when we cut this, there will be sticky ends produced. And now these DNA from two different sources, they can be joined to form a single DNA, and that single DNA is now the recombinant DNA. So when it is joined with the ligase, and here you have seen that this plasmid is a circular DNA, but when we cut it, it becomes linear. So it is linearized, and the two ends which are created, those two ends will bind with the human DNA as we are taking over here, or any foreign DNA, and it will again circularize by the help of ligase. Now, this recombinant plasmid that has been created in the lab, this one can now be transferred into a bacterial host. Now, this bacterial host will be called transformed, because it has taken a DNA which was earlier not a part of it. And once this bacteria has been transformed, as this bacteria divides and makes multiple copies of itself, so many copies of this plasmid also have been formed. And that means the gene of interest also is cloned. And if we also want the product of interest, that is growth hormone, then accordingly, when these bacteria are transcribing this DNA and the product is formed after translation, that can be extracted. So this is in short, the sum total of the process of genetic engineering. Now coming to this recombinant DNA, this was first time constructed in 1972 by these two scientists, and these were Stanley Cohen and Herbert Boyer. So they were the ones who were responsible in developing the recombinant DNA. And what did they do actually was that they isolated the antibiotic resistance gene by cutting out a piece of DNA from a plasmid of Salmonella typhimurium. Now, Salmonella typhimurium is a bacteria which causes food poisoning. And from this bacteria, they isolated a segment of DNA which was imparting antibiotic resistance to this bacteria. Now, this DNA segment was linked with a plasmid DNA, which was a simple plasmid. That means it was not earlier having any antibiotic resistance gene. So now a new recombinant plasmid was created in which there was this antibiotic resistance gene very much present. This plasmid, when it is transferred into Escherichia coli, now this Escherichia coli started to multiply. The same antibiotic resistance gene will be expressed also in it. As a result, even the E. coli became resistant to the antibiotic, which earlier such resistance was absent in E. coli. So here we see that from one species of bacteria, the gene is transferred into another species of bacteria, conferring same type of ability to that bacteria. So this is how the first type of recombinant DNA was prepared and tested. After this, let's move on to other things, what we can do with the recombinant DNA and what is needed to prepare recombinant DNA.